welcome to Lit Happens Prince Albert. I'm Kara Stelmaschek. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to be delving into the world of the literary arts here in Prince Albert. And joining me now is Sandy Pitzel. Sandy, we are working. We're not having cups of tea here while you guys are, watching, wondering what we're doing.
Yes.
So let's just maybe start with explaining why we have tea in front of us.
Okay, so it's in direct relation to the book that I have. So my book is Tea Leaf Reading Guide, What You Already Know, and by myself. And I did this book because I started tea leaf reading almost 23 years ago. And what I found way back then, 23 years ago, is there was very few books then on the topic. So, I started searching and was aware of maybe 2 books I could find. And a lot of the books were memorizing. So you're memorizing symbols in the teacup. So, I brought the teacups so people can see what the heck I'm talking about. So, we drink tea as the traditional kind of way, so I can explain that. But the teacup, tea readers, which I am, would look in the teacup and they'd see, pictures in here that tell them things about you, the sitter. So if I'm the reader and I'm doing it for you, you're the sitter. And so the 2 books I found a long time ago were all memorizing what I knew from a picture that I would see in there. So I didn't want to memorize other people's stuff. So over the years, people would ask me, can you teach me how to do this? So not only was I reading, I started teaching people how to do tea leaf reading. Then the next step was people would be asking me, what book do you recommend? And no books were based on not memorizing, so not memorizing other people's symbols. So my book, you can tell by the title, Tea Leaf Reading Guide, What You Already Know. So it's drawing on things that people themselves, if they wanted to be the tea leaf reader, what they would have as a symbol to give you a story. We're storytellers. So I'll give you an example. If I look in here and I see a dog, then a dog can mean love to me, cuddling, warmth, but to you it can mean fear because you got bit by a dog when you were younger. So this is what I teach in my book.
Okay, so the story that's in there then comes from the reader as well as the person that's having their leaves read.
In a way. And so I thought, hey, let's try this if we have time so we could show people. That's why I brought the cups too. And so, say if you did come to me, then we'd sit and we'd be like this. We'd have tea. But you wouldn't have to actually drink it, which goes against the tradition. There's a tradition.
Oh.
So of tea leaf reading from English people, Scottish people, many European people, Gypsy people who Rom, and they have different ways that they do it. But I have my own method, okay? And I developed my own method because I do groups of people. I do big events where you often wouldn't find tea readers. I can do the same thing on the telephone, which you can't even picture or imagine. Interesting. Yeah, I've worked with people and done this, and then they've been transferred to, BC, and then we can still do this. We can do it on Facebook. I just did a Facebook Live and did readings on there. So if people want to check it out and, but they can check it out right here with us. Okay. They don't have to go anywhere else.
All right, so shall we do this? Okay,
so,
cool.
Whichever way, way back when we'd sit here and we'd have tea and we'd have dainties and, I'd make you drink about 3 or 4 cups of tea. But we don't have to have time for that these days, and definitely not today. So this cup would be just like you drank it, okay? And so from this cup, I came up with things just sitting here while I was just waiting for us to start. And what I was saying is a check mark. I saw a check mark in here. And so for me, first of all, how you participate is that I would tell you things, but if I didn't know the symbol or the meaning, I'd go to you. So a check mark is, specifically, it's pretty easy, straightforward. We're making lists and, so detail. You're a very detailed person. So in the teacup, I'm going to get specifics about you, your nature, and I'm going to get spiritual things. And that started about 3 years ago. I've done this for almost 23 years. And I didn't want to be known as someone who saw, you know, people who've passed on. I didn't want to be that person because we have stigmas to that.
Yes.
So who wants to be a stigma, you know, really?
Not a good way to start, anyway.
But I found it very beautiful, as this happened 3 years ago, where most people who come to me get to hear that a loved one is around. And then I get some detail about them. That person feels really good about it because, you know, they go to this beautiful place, whatever we call that, heaven, spirit world, other things. I'm very open to different spirituality and religion's way of thinking. And so I'm here to tell you they definitely do. So sometimes I see people who have, and I get kind of specifics about it. So there was someone in here for you, Kara. And so this person had either, I get the area of the body where they were sick, and some other details here too, but that they had, it was either a breathing issue or in the heart area. So, you know, it wasn't like they're in a wheelchair and they can't move their legs. It's like in this area. And they were very strong otherwise. So it's kind of like, you know, what? You know, this person passed on, like, you know, I just saw them looking good, you know, last month. And so this issue here is the area where, right before they passed on. I see you tenting now, camping, like tenting, enjoying, and this can go way back, like way back, because of course you're probably too busy to go tenting maybe now, but this is like in relation to these memories, like going back.
In relation to the person that you see.
Yeah, or somebody associated to them.
This completely makes sense, actually. Yes, it does.
Yes. So that's somebody who showed up. Now, this can be the same person or another one. So there's a letter U, and U's usually mean first name, last place, last name, or a place. And so, you know, if it was a place, it could be Utah, Ukraine, you know, something like that. U is not that common, so you're kind of limited. And if you don't know right now, that's fine.
Okay.
I often get people to record it or take notes.
And
But you can look back at your show
we'll
and
just watch
see.
The show later.
Yeah. And then years, I get years. So I saw 14 for you. And so the year 14, and you're quite, what I would call introspective, you know, like the way you are. You can really look at things, very cool. Maybe even sometimes come across as a little bit cynical and not intentionally, but just it could be like humor, and they're going, what? You know, but it's all in good nature. So at 14, the number is 14. So usually for me as the reader, the years are something where something significant happened and you don't have to tell me what it is. Often the thing is really challenging. It's a hard thing to go through. Like, crap, we moved from, you know, my favorite school in town to this other place, or whatever, like something. Occasionally it's something really happy, like, wow, you know, I can't even believe my first boyfriend, you know, like whatever it is. And so this is a significant year for you. And why it shows up here, whatever it was. If it was a challenge, you moved through and, you know, you made it through that, you learned some things. Later on as an adult, you heal from that stuff, you know, the memory of it. Or if it was a great thing, whatever it is, and you don't have to tell me, that in here means that you can do whatever. It was a challenging thing. Any challenges that come up here in the next year for you, you can move through them. You've already done it, you know. And if it was super exciting, there's something super exciting coming again. You have also the word like it or is, so it's kind of like it is as it is. You'd have a philosophy in life like, you know, yeah, it is as it is, so let's start now, you know. It just is, kind of like that.
That's pretty true, actually.
Yeah, and really good feel about people. So, you know, we can sit here, somebody else can join us. You know, some people call that a sense or intuition. You know, it's just like somebody joins us and I'm listening to, they know this person, they work these jobs, They're just like got high marks in whatever. And I'm just like, ooh, you know, I'm so impressed with this new person. And you're sitting there because you have this, and it's a gift. You're sitting there, you're going, there's something not, I'm going to wait a while to, you know, see more about this person. I'm going to give it time. And I'm like, Kara, we should invite this person to have lunch with us every month. And you're going, you know, and you will be right. So you have a strong sense like that. And people should listen to you. Maybe you can tell people in your life
People
they
should listen to
you.
me.
Yes.
I'm going to start using that. I'm going to show people this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. That's fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. So these things, I've sat where right through an entire tea leaf reading, and the person hasn't indicated anything about what I've told them, whether it's correct or not. And then at the very end, they'll go, I need to tell you, you know, and then they tell me, this meant this was this person, this was this. And I love being the person that does a reading for the very first time for somebody, because it opens up something with them. And I love being, like I said, even though I never thought, you know, 23 years ago, I love being the person who can tell people about these loved ones of ours, that they're around. What's so great about that? What's so great about that is every single person on this earth feels alone at different times. We can be in a room full of 20 people and like, nobody gets me. But when we know our loved ones are still around, it means everything, because we're not truly alone then. And so that's the beauty of this. And then it gives you hope, too, some of the things.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, do you mind if I tell you what I know for a fact was quite accurate?
Yes.
My mother passed away last June from a very sudden stroke. No health problems leading up to it. Absolutely no indication it was going to happen.
Wow.
So that's dead on. Yeah. And 14 years old, I'm thinking it's the time I changed schools. I'd gone to the same school from K to grade 7, and we had to switch to a different school for 2 years before high school. And that was hard. That was, you know, you were at school with all the same people. So you had to go to a new school and there was all these other people, and yeah, so I can see that being what that's in relation to. So that's actually, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, it's offering hope to people. So in that case, you know, this big transition where that's scary. You know, you go to a new school and, you know, at that age. But at any age, any change is scary. Yeah. So, you know, we're thinking we get offered a job in like Ontario, you know, and we're like, whoa, like I'd love to try it, but I'm scared. So the message for you from this teacup, from what I saw, is you can do it. You've done it already, you know, and then probably, you know, along the way you met some friends down the road there or knew that you could transition to another school, like you learn things. And so this is just telling you, you know, you've got it, so you can do it again. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And then your mom, that's so beautiful, you know, because the love is definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the strength you talked about, that was her. And actually camping, when we were going through the pictures in the house and everything, my sister and I kept going back to remembering Girl Guide camp, because my mother was a camp leader. And of course, every year you have a winter camp and a summer camp. So, and those were the memories we came back to. For whatever reason, we kept remembering that. So that was, I really had to push for tenting, because I did my penance in Girl Guides, and I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. You only need to sleep in a sleeping bag with a beetle crawl over your toe once, and then you're like, we're done. We're not doing that anymore.
This is not my love thing for life.
Want to do that. So,
exactly.
Yeah, that was amazing. So, and Sandy, if people do want to have a tea leaf reading done or anything like this, do they just get a hold of you?
Yeah, I've got a web page on Facebook, and it's the same name as the book. So if they remember Sandy Pitzel and then they, you know, do a search, they're going to come up with this tea leaf reading guide book. And that's the same name as the web page on Facebook. And as well, I have a website that tells them my kind of background, and they can click on that and message me. So either way, yeah. So if they type in my name, it's going to come up.
Okay, gotcha. And you said you would do groups of people. It still works for groups?
Yeah, that's been fun. And, you know, it's a whole nother story. So I'll just like briefly say, I've been able to do birthday parties. So I remember one time doing a group and I was kind of freaked out as the reader because it's like the first time. And she said she's going to have a few friends over. It was a surprise for a lady. Yeah. And the few friends turned out to be like 20 people. And I'm like, whoa, this is like not my few, you know. But very, very fun and able to focus in on the birthday person. Not embarrass them, just give them some stuff, and then after they could phone me. Splurge groups.
Oh, nice. Well, there we go. Thank you again, Sandy Pitzel, for joining us here on Lit Happens Prince Albert. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to watch this episode again, it will be available online at shawtv.ca. If you have an idea for the show, or if you'd like to appear with me, look for me on Facebook. My name is Kara Stelmaschuk. I'm also on Twitter. Again, thank you for watching, and thank you again to Sandy for joining us today.